Los Angeles has changed everything because a lot of money is going to be necessary for Los Angeles. And a lot of people on the other side want that to happen. And
North Carolina, too.
Fast. Well, they don't care about North Carolina. The Democrats don't care about North Carolina. What they've done with FEMA is so bad. FEMA is a whole other discussion because all it does is complicate everything. FEMA has not done their job for the last 4 years. You know, I had FEMA working really well. We had hurricanes in Florida. We had Alabama, tornadoes. But unless you have certain types of leadership, it gets in the way. And FEMA is going to be a whole big discussion very shortly because I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems.
This understand the attention is on California right now, but the states that are disproportionately impacted by natural disasters are Republican strongholds. The states most impacted by hurricanes, for example, here are the numbers covering the past few decades. Florida was hit with 120 hurricanes, including 2 that were Category 5, where a combined 140 people were left dead. Next was Texas, that was hit with 64 hurricanes, including 19 that were Category 3 or 4. Louisiana was hit by 63 hurricanes, with 19 registering Category 3 to 5. North Carolina saw 58 hurricanes, with 7 of them being Category 3 or 4, and South Carolina had 32 hurricanes, with 5 of them being Category 3 or 4. Not exactly liberal bastions there, are they? And you know which of those states are bigger donor states than California? None. California, along with Democratic states like Delaware, Massachusetts, Illinois, New Jersey, Washington, Minnesota, Rhode Island, and New York are some of the biggest donor states in the U.S. Meanwhile, the taker states, well, that would include West Virginia, Mississippi, Alaska, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina, Montana, and Oklahoma in the bottom 12. So if the question is whether we want to prevent the federal government from offering funding to states that need it, it's not the blue states that are going to be most impacted, it is the red states that are going to suffer. He says that Democrats didn't take care of North Carolina when they controlled the federal government and FEMA. I should remind you that in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene hitting western North Carolina, the $9 billion allocated to that state got over the finish line thanks to the Democrats. Meanwhile, 34 Republicans voted against the bill. In other words, the fact that North Carolinians got any assistance was no thanks to the Republican Party. When Hurricane Helene hit the state, the Biden administration deployed more than 1,500 federal personnel to remain to support the response and recovery operations. They opened 14 disaster recovery centers to serve more than 5,700 visitors. FEMA provided temporary hotel stays to more than 2,500 households through transitional sheltering assistance. FEMA inspectors performed more than 21,000 home inspections to help survivors assess damage and apply for financial assistance. They restored power to 99% of impacted North Carolina customers due to thousands of utility personnel working around the clock. In total, the administration approved more than $300 million in assistance across the state, including $118 million in individual assistance to more than 87,000 households and more than $189 million for debris removal and other emergency efforts. In fact, here are a bunch of Republican governors praising Joe Biden's response to the hurricane relief effort from neighboring states that were also impacted.
As of today, what has been the ongoing kind of federal assistance for South Carolina?
It's been superb. I finally was able to speak to the president yesterday afternoon after he missed me and I missed him leaving. He left a voicemail, I left a voicemail. So we finally connected yesterday afternoon. He said that whatever we need to let him know, and we're doing that. Also, Secretary Buttigieg called yesterday and said the same thing. And also, Deanie Creswell for FEMA has also called. So, and a number of the governors have called. So we're getting assistance, and we're asking for everything we need.
I'm incredibly appreciative of the rapid response and the cooperation from the federal team at FEMA.
The response was quick from the federal government that allowed for that reimbursement. Those reimbursements are already available to be made. A fast turnaround, frankly.
If you add Los Angeles into it, then you can really do one big, beautiful bill, because, frankly, they want that so badly. They want the money to go out there so badly. And I don't think we should do a bill until Los Angeles is included. And when Los Angeles is included, we get everything we want.
And here's Gavin Newsom's response to the prospect of Trump and Republicans conditioning that aid during our most recent interview.
Can I have your reaction to Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, coming out in support of establishing the precedent of conditioning disaster relief, and him doing it from the state of Louisiana? Like, it's not like this guy is any stranger to what would happen if we start playing politics with disaster relief. So can I have your reaction to that?
I hope it looks in his heart, the pain and suffering of the American people, the trauma that everybody's experiencing in his country. He's the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the United States of America, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all, not some who may have a political point of view. By the way, I didn't ask anyone what their political affiliation was when we were down here working to try to protect people in the community from the ravages of these fires and these unprecedented winds. But you know what? Nor did we ever never in California questioned whether or not we as taxpayers in the largest state in the union should support the people of Louisiana at a time of emergency and need. We never conditioned it. We never talked about putting the full fate and credit of the United States of America with the debt ceiling bill so we can get tax cuts for billionaires and corporations that don't need it, and then put at risk the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans that happen to live in California.
And this, by the way, is California as a donor state, as arguably the biggest donor state in the country.
Yeah, the size of 21 state populations combined. A state with millions and millions of Trump supporters, Speaker Johnson and Mr. President-elect. Millions of your supporters are out here. They need your help. They need your empathy. They need your care, whatever compassion you can express, as opposed to condemnation and divisive language that has aided and embedded nothing except mis and disinformation that's flamed fear and flamed a lot of anxiety for folks that are simply trying to recover. And at the same time, our first responders trying to address the emergency at hand, which still hasn't been fully buttoned up.